Alright, so last week we talked about leadership and leadership qualities and a little bit about prepared public speaking. And this week we're going to focus on parliamentary procedure, which is kind of the last of our FFA and leadership information. And we're also going to talk about SAEs and finances. So parliamentary procedure, hopefully from Animal 1, you remember that Robert's Rules of Order is the book of authority on parliamentary law. And parliamentary procedure really is meant to assure us that all sides of an issue are treated fairly and that everyone has an opportunity to not only discuss but also vote on motions. There's 4 main objectives of parliamentary law. The first one is to focus on one item at a time. The second would be to extend courtesy to everyone, so everyone has the ability to discuss and vote on a motion. Observe the rule of the majority, which helps keep unpopular ideas from being adopted, and also ensures the rights of the minority. There's several different requirements for a meeting. The first is a quorum, and the quorum is the number of members that are required to conduct business. And typically we say that this is a benchmark of 2/3 of your total membership. So if we look at our FFA program, which has approximately 60 members, we would have to have at least 40 of them present in order to conduct business. You also need a chairperson. Most of the time this is going to be your president, but if the president cannot be there for whatever reason, the vice president would then assume the duties of the president and become the chairperson. You also need a secretary. You need someone to take the minutes of the meeting. There's 4 different methods of voting. The first is voice voting. So people would either say aye for yes, or they would say no. So rising would be either standing or a show of hands. Secret ballot would be a written vote. This is used primarily when you're nominating new officers or handling some other item of business that should be kept very secret. And then roll call. So a secretary would literally go down the list of members and ask every single one to state their vote. There's 2 types of votes. The first one is a simple majority. So this would be 1 more than 50% or 1 more than half of the votes. Then there's also a 2/3 majority, which is 2/3 or approximately 66-67% of your members are voting, so at least 67% or 2/3 of the members that are voting must vote for the motion in order for it to pass. Usually this is used when a motion will limit the rights of members in some way, shape, or form. So for example, one of the parliamentary abilities that we'll talk about in the next video is suspending the rules. If you're going to throw the rule book out the window, you're probably going to impact your membership. So if you do that, you have to make sure that you have a 2/3 majority so that you have an even bigger majority of people agreeing to throw the rule book out the window, if that makes sense. And the gavel. This is the symbol of authority when it comes to parliamentary procedure. There's several different taps of the gavel, and they all mean different things. One tap of the gavel, so if the chairperson just taps the gavel once, it most of the time means to be seated. At the end of a meeting, it also indicates that the meeting is adjourned. It also, throughout the meeting, is used when the chairperson announces the result of a vote. So they will say, "The yeses have it," and they'll tap the gavel once. That means that the result of the vote has been announced, and we're moving on to something else. 2 taps of the gavel just indicates that the meeting is called to order. So this happens at the beginning of every meeting. And then 3 taps of the gavel means that members should stand on the 3rd tap. And then a series of taps where the chairperson is tapping in succession at least 4 times, if not more, simply means be quiet and orderly. Something's gotten out of hand. We all need to calm down. We're going to stop there on this one. The next video, you might want to involve your table of motions, and that will give you the necessary information for every motion that we're going to talk about, every ability that we're going to talk about. That will be all in the next video, but if you want to pull up your table of motions, it might be helpful. Of course, let me know if you have any questions. I know that Parley Pro can get a little bit finicky and confusing, so of course let me know if you need anything. I will see you in the next video. Thanks!